Hey everyone, welcome to your path to personal leadership growth with the Leader's Edge. I'm your host, Steve Steele, alongside my co-host, partner in leadership, Ernie DeCumos. And as certified speakers, coaches, and corporate facilitators, we're dedicated to bringing you powerful principles to fuel your leadership journey and personal growth. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur just starting out, or a new leader taking the reins, or a seasoned pro looking to refine your skills, well, this show's for you. We'll be diving deep into personal growth strategies to help you strengthen your mindset and leadership abilities. But before we jump in, a huge shout out goes to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you for joining us each and every week. We wouldn't be here without your incredible support. Now, let's get to business and help you unlock your full potential. Hey, partner, how are you doing today?
Good morning, partner. Good morning, everyone. This is your co-host Ernie Kumos. I am doing great, partner. I don't know. I wanna be silly this morning. The energy is not there, partner. I wanna
You know
challenge you.
why? I will tell you why.
Why?
Because I started out saying almost the wrong title to the show. That's what I
I
almost
caught
did.
that.
This
I
is the leader's
caught
edge. And
that.
I was doing our webinar, your path to personal leadership growth with Steve and Ernie, and I had to tag it. So I kind of like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, I kind of messed that up. So I better do the best I can with it. So yeah, that's why.
No.
But I got full of energy though, I promise you.
Yes, yes, yes. Now you're back. Now you're back,
Now I'm back.
partner. Yes. Well, today we have a special guest partner, and I cannot
Yep.
wait to introduce her. Can I do that now?
Yes, please do. Take it away.
Awesome. Our guest this morning was born and raised in Bloomington, Indiana in 1974. We're not aging her. And still resides there today with her husband, bonus kids, and beloved granddaughter. Her career has spanned the fields of law, insurance, and real estate. She is a regional director for Wyckoff Real Estate Affiliates, where she enjoys her love of coaching, speaking, teaching, and consulting. She is also a Maxwell Leadership Certified coach, speaker, and trainer. She has become passionate about growth, learning, and making a difference in this world. She wants to impact as many lives as possible for joy and powerful positive change. She loves coaching and motivating others on their journey. This is what drives her every single day. Her greatest desire is to help others overcome pain and the things holding them back to live a passion filled life doing what they were put on earth to do. She is the author of Finding Joy in the Impossible and most recently a co author of Everyday Moments Lessons That Transform. Everyone, please help us in welcoming Miss Shauna Snyder to the green
Yeah,
room.
Shauna's
Hello,
here.
everybody.
So glad to have you. You know, we had you last week on the webinar, so I guess my mind kind of worked that way at the very beginning of our show when I let in. But it's so great to have you back this week for the Leader's Edge. It's just a privilege to have you here. We're going to be talking today, Shauna, about several things in your book. Um, and the name of your book is Finding Joy in the Impossible, right? And so we're going to be talking about some subjects in there. We're going to be talking about purpose. We're going to talk
Yep.
about some habits. And we're also going to be talking about something that gets, I think, all of us, and that's complacency at times.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about those things. So we're kind of wet the whistle of our audience, kind of let them know where we're going with it. But Shauna, purpose. You write in your book, I think it was chapter 14 or something like that, about purpose.
You said you're not
Can
going to
you?
say the chapter, partner.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I was okay. Well, anyway, I did. I won't say more chapters. So I'll just go out and get the book, right? But
Right.
yeah, you
Yes.
talk about purpose. So tell us a little bit about what about purpose. Why did you write about it?
Well, the reason that I wrote about purpose is because I think there are so many people who go through life without
Mm.
ever even exploring that they have a purpose. And I was very guilty of that. I think that we grow up, we go to school, maybe we go on to a higher education. In some families, you get married, you live your life, you have kids, you do your job, and that's it, without ever stopping to think that we have a purpose here on earth. And I was that person. I didn't know I had a purpose, and some life events happened. Within a 2-year span, I lost 2 jobs.
Mm.
The first one happened on October 3rd of 2018. The reason that date is so clear is that was my birthday. I was working for my brother at the time for 5 years. It was my dream job. I worked remote. He was in California. He was my brother who doesn't want to work with their family member. I was in real estate doing what I loved. It was amazing. There was a time difference. So my days didn't start till, closer to noon because of the time difference. It was an amazing job. My brother called me on October 3rd, had some changes and was downsizing his company, which meant I was losing my job. And I remember when that hit, thinking, all of these thoughts started coming in, fear, what was going to happen? What was I going to do? What was my job going to be? And at that point, I think my purpose, if you had asked me at that point, would have been wrapped up in what I did. And that's not the same thing. And after that happened, I started having this stirring in the pit of my stomach that there was some major changes coming and some shift coming in my life. And I didn't know what that looked like. But then again, so I got another job. And then again, in March of 2020, when COVID hit, I got laid off from another job. So 2 jobs in 2 years. And it was devastating to me.
Yeah.
But on this side of it, some amazing things happened because it made me start exploring my purpose. And I had some trauma. I've had some trauma in my life. You can read the book and you can see, but I've dealt with infertility. I was never able to have a baby, and job loss, and abusive marriage, and eating disorder. I've had some stuff happen, just like so many other people. And I realized when I was in therapy that I had to take back control of my life. And the reason these job losses hit so hard was they were triggers from me of all of those past things in my life.
Wow.
And I realized there were so many things in life I couldn't control. I couldn't control not being able to have a baby. I tried everything financially that I was able to do, and I couldn't have a baby. I couldn't control that. I couldn't control the abusive home I was raised in. My job was always the one thing I could control. And my purpose was always around my job, was always around what I was doing in my career. But losing that, I lost my identity. So through so much, I think we do, but what that caused me to do was take a deep dive into Shauna. And I realized that my purpose was to help other people. My purpose on this planet is to impact lives for powerful, positive change. My purpose on this earth is to spread joy despite life's trauma and life's hard things. So through those really hard things, I discovered my purpose. Now, everybody's purpose looks different. If you're a stay-at-home mom, your purpose might be pouring into those children. Your purpose might be, if you're a nurse, maybe that's your purpose and your passion is to help people. So I'm able to now, in my role, in my career, tie my purpose and my career and all of that together, which is beautiful for me. But I think too often we don't stop and think, why did all of these things happen to me? Why have I had so much change in my life? Why have I had so much trauma in my life? What purpose do I even serve? And that's so sad that people go through life without ever stopping to uncover their purpose.
Partner, may I ask a follow-up question real quick? Shauna, does everyone have a purpose?
I think so. And this is what purpose is to me. I'm not out chasing some big thing. To me, your purpose, all of our purposes, it looks different, but all of us have a purpose to impact other people and to help other people.
No matter what that is.
No matter what that is. That's purpose to me.
Beautiful.
And so, it's going to look different to everybody, but we all serve a purpose. And I think the sooner we realize that, the happier we'll be and the more joy we'll have. Now, is it easy? No, it's life. It's not easy. But what greater feeling is it knowing I went to bed, I'm going to bed tonight, knowing I helped somebody today? That is purpose. And to me, it's passion.
This conversation reminds me of a quote that is very dear to my heart. It says that there are two most important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you find out why, and which is why it's imperative that we find our purpose. Shauna, I am curious, and I'm sure somebody is asking this: how did it feel Or what did you feel when you stumbled upon your purpose?
Yeah, good question.
Well, it was painful. I had,
Really?
you know, I had just, it was painful because of the fact that I had just lost another job. And to me, that was just more confirmation from a lot of other things in my life that I wasn't worthy and that I
Oof.
wasn't enough. So that was one thing. The other thing that happened was I was helping somebody and I was about to give up on them because the relationship was so hard. And I was giving so much and constantly being slapped in the face all the time. And I
Mm,
remember thinking, I'm totally done with this person. I'm going to walk away. I don't have to put myself in this situation. And
mm,
it was a punch in my gut that said, yes, you do have
mm.
to help this person. And that's your purpose in needing this person at all and this person being in your life. So I'm not saying that we should remain in abusive relationships in any means. I've
Right.
lived there. I'm not saying that. This person,
Mhm.
this relationship wasn't abusive. This was one that I was just getting tired of giving, and never even getting any kind of respect in return. But
Mm.
what I realized in that was that person needed me. That person needed me really bad. And if I hadn't realized that my purpose in that relationship was to help them through what they were going through, that person's life could have been forever changed because I didn't step up when I needed to.
Mm.
Good point.
Can you, partner, I'm going to ask a follow-up question on this
Absolutely.
because I
Sure.
wanted to paint a picture of
Mhm.
what it looks like once you have found your purpose. Because that's what we're looking for, right?
Right.
We can keep doing the things, taking action, but if we don't know if it's what we are meant to do, it's hard to recognize it. So, Shauna, when you made an impact to this individual and when their life, that specific individual's life was changed, how did that make you feel?
Full of joy, happy, fulfilled.
Mm,
So grateful that I didn't give up on the relationship, that I didn't throw in the towel.
yeah.
And I went to bed at night. There were some hard days, but there were some amazing days.
Mhm.
And I have to tell you something. This is a relationship that's very close in my life. And just last week, this person said to me, thank you. I'm so happy that this all turned out like it did because my life would be different if it hadn't. And this person's doing amazing. I'm so super proud of her today. But I know the only reason that I went through some of the things that I went through was to help somebody else. And listen, I'm
Mm,
not saying that hardship or abuse or death or any of those things have a reason or a purpose. I don't know what those reasons are. I don't want to go through some of the things I went through again.
Right.
yeah.
But the only sense that I can make of it is that by me going through it, I'm going to help somebody else go through it easier and
Yeah.
maybe with a little less pain and a little less heartache. And so I guess that's a long response to your question, but to me, purpose is just knowing that somebody else might have brighter days.
Mm,
Shauna, if you feel, and I do too, I know Ernie's the same way, that everyone has a purpose in life. How does a person find that purpose?
What makes you passionate?
Love it.
mm,
You know, John Maxwell says to us, what makes you sing?
Mhm.
What makes you smile? What makes you want to do more things? What makes you passionate? And once I did years of healing from all the trauma that I went through and arrived at this place, this makes me happy. This gives me
Yes.
passion and purpose. So I think you look for those things that you're passionate about and that bring you joy and that bring you happiness.
I also heard that once a person knows what they're gifted in, what they're really good at, that also helps define their purpose. When they find out what they're really,
mm.
really good at, whether it's taking care of people or whether it's writing, whether it's, speaking or whatever it is,
Yes.
if they're good at that, that they're passionate about that, right?
Right.
and that when you find out what your gifted areas are, if you just really dive in and try to find your gifted areas, you're going to find your passion. And when you find your passion, you'll find your purpose. And when you find your purpose, you'll find fulfillment.
Absolutely.
Right.
And you know what the thing for me is, on hard days, or when I've been going and giving all day, I
Mhm.
should be completely wiped out and exhausted, but
Yes.
I
Yeah.
still have energy. You know,
Yeah.
the days I'm traveling and I get to meet some amazing brokers, you're on from the time you get out of bed until you go back to bed. And yes, I'm tired, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
fulfilled and I'm excited and I'm energized.
Yep.
Yes. And also I would like to comment on that, and I definitely agree. I am an introvert, and introverts do not like being around people, not because they don't like people. It's more so of it drains people drain my energy just being around people. But when it comes to doing the radio show, when it comes to speaking, all of a sudden I'm fired up. But right after that, I'm like running to my bedroom just to
Yeah.
recuperate. But that's what passion looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would it also make sense, Shauna, that it's something that you can do for free all day,
Oh,
every day?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I would totally agree with that, because I do it for free a lot.
Hmm.
Mm,
You know, it's not just it's not, I get to do it in my job. I get to do it with my friends. It's all around me, because people now know that this is what I'm so passionate about it. I mean, I post on social media 3 times a week, just trying to be that voice and trying to be that light, and
yes.
trying to bring that joy.
Mm,
Absolutely.
And I may not ever be the richest person in the world, but I am the richest person in the world, as far as knowing that I am going to leave this planet and people better than I found them.
Absolutely. So
mm,
when you find audience, when you find your purpose, when you do something and you love to do something and you have full of energy and you're tired, but you're still full of energy with it, that's a good indication you found a purpose in life. And I just
mm.
love that. That's beautiful, Shauna. That's absolutely beautiful.
Yes, I definitely agree. We will need to take a quick break. We just we just got here. We just started.
No, that's a first section
we
overdue.
we just talked about purpose, which partner Steve declared the chapter. When we return, we will talk about habits. And it's again on the book. I will not disclose the chapter. We will withhold Mr. Steele to
Yes.
not from sharing the chapter, but we will talk about habits. We will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Recording stop.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele with my co-host Ernie DeCumos and our special guest today, Shauna Snyder. Shauna, that was a great segment. We talked about purpose, that whole segment. We had a lot of good organic stuff going on there. And I think we finally came to the realization that where you find giftedness in your life is where you're going to find purpose and then ultimately
Yes.
fulfillment, right? So
Right.
beautiful,
Absolutely.
beautiful. Thank you so, so much for that. But we're going to go
My
on to
pleasure.
another subject now. And I'm not going to say the chapter because I want everybody to go get the book, right? And if you haven't, look, you can get the book on Amazon. So you need to go to Amazon, get the book. And Shauna Snyder, Finding Joy in the Impossible, you need to go get that book. It's a great read, guys. It really is. So, Shauna, we're going to go to another part of your book called Habits. Now we got about an 18-minute segment here. We can really get into some habits because I think habits. I mean, you know, we're venture to say that healthy habits are or good routines in your life are great, but not everybody has them.
Right.
So let's talk about habits of why that is so important in our life.
Well, back in COVID, when I got laid off from my job, I spent about 2 weeks curled up in a ball almost, feeling like a victim, even though the whole world was going through exactly what I was going through. I wasn't the only one to get laid off, nor was it my boss's fault at the time. He couldn't help what was going on. But I spent about 2 weeks just doing nothing, absolutely doing nothing. And I woke up one Monday morning and it was just, and I'm a person of faith. And it was just like God said to me, you've got two choices here. You can get up and go do something about what's going on in your life, or you can stay the victim and remain where you're at and live there. And for two, I mean, I wasn't getting dressed. I was wearing sweatpants and all the things. I had all of my good habits that I had before just went out the window. So what I realized that Monday was I got up and I'm like, okay, I do have to take control of what's happening in my life. How do I do that? How do I start to grow? How do I start to live in my purpose? What is my next thing going to be? And really, at this point, I should have been more excited about the fact that I had all these opportunities, but I realized I had to start creating some habits or I was going to stay stuck where I was. So one of the things that I made the decision to wake up and have a morning routine to start my day off right. So my morning routine, I don't know if anybody's ever read the book by Hal Elrod called The Miracle Morning. That kind of helped start me on my morning routine. But what started happening, I would get up every morning and I would do a devotional. I would practice gratitude. I would write out an affirmation. I would do a little bit of a workout and I would learn something, whether that be listen to a podcast or watch something on YouTube or read a book, whatever that was. But I realized I needed to do something or I was going to stay stuck. So I started doing that morning routine and I just Monday through Friday. And I will tell you, 5 years later, this is still my morning routine. I still do this very thing every morning. So I practice gratitude. I write out 5 things I'm grateful for. I read a devotional. I read a chapter in the Bible. I pray, I work out. And normally my learning something is combined with my workout. So I'll listen to a podcast while I'm working out or watch something on YouTube, or we're Maxwell Leadership Certified. I'll watch one of the trainings on Maxwell, or some other thought leader that I'm trying to learn from. That's how I start my day. But what came from creating these amazing habits was the beautiful place that I've arrived at today and the career that I'm now in, which is combining what I love, what I know, real estate, and getting to help people every single day. So I get to combine my purpose with my passion and live it and get paid to do it in my job all day, every day. But I know that growth would not have come to where I am today had I not started having some disciplines in my life and some habits, because without those habits, I would have never grown to the place that I am today.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what you said. I have a decision to either stay stuck or create a routine. I know I love building habits and habit stacking, but it's also hard to stay on your habits.
Yes.
right? It's very hard. And you mentioned that you have to have the discipline for it. Were there days that you woke up and don't feel like doing the things that you have set, the habits that you have set for yourself to do? And what can you advise somebody who will go through that, for them to like to do the things that they have set to do as far as habits?
Of course there are days. There are still days. And I've been practicing these habits for 5 years. There are still days I wake up and I just want to go have coffee and do nothing. And there are days I do that. I'll sit in the recliner for an hour with a cup of coffee, mindlessly scrolling through social media. And then the next thing I know, it's time for me to jump up, get in the shower, and get ready for work. And I haven't done my morning routine. My number one tip is show yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Okay? You're not going to be perfect every single day.
Right.
Nobody is.
Right.
Nobody is. I allow myself Saturdays and Sundays to not do it. I do it Monday through Friday. But I will tell you that the thing that keeps me disciplined in doing it every day is the fact that on those days when I don't do them, I don't feel good. I don't feel right. I feel off. I feel like I didn't pour into my cup in order to pour into somebody else's cup. So does life get in the way? Yes, it gets in the way. And now I'm traveling for my role, and I'm having to relearn my habits, because when I do them at home, I have a Bible, I have a gratitude journal, I have a devotional, I have a book. I can't travel with all of those things. I tried the first month of traveling. I tried and about put my back out trying to carry that backpack to the airport.
Yeah.
So I'm now learning. So I bought an iPad and I put software on there that I can take notes on. So I can do it that way. I have an app for the Bible, so I can do it that way. So then all I take with me is my book and my iPad, right? So I'm learning to create other ways. But nobody's going to be perfect. And please don't set yourself up for that. You will set yourself up for failure if you go into it and you shame yourself the first day you miss, or the first day you don't want to get out of bed. Because guys, what I've realized is you also need rest.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're in a season where you need some extra rest and getting up earlier in the morning, then change it. There are days right now when it's lunchtime and I'm doing my morning routine. There are times it's before I go to bed. There are days I don't do it. The point is just trying to be really disciplined to do those things that I need to do to be better every single day.
Yeah. That's so true. So, Shauna, I find that in my routines, I have similar routines that you have, and I typically do them in the morning. But if I'm, I'll do my Bible study, and I'll do my Bible reading first thing. It's the first thing I do. And then what I'll do is go from there. I'll go into prayer and meditation. And I love to meditate in prayer. I absolutely love it. Now, some people say, well, that's kind of woo-woo. It's not woo-woo. It's real. And I will tell you that when I do those things, and I'll do a morning exercise, when I do those things, my creativity level just jumps up.
Yes.
My anxiety level comes down.
Yes, absolutely.
And my creativity level jumps up.
It does.
In my creativity is where my purpose lies, right? Because I know what my purpose is. So now I'm able to be very creative with my purpose. And then I have the full day to go through that. Now, does my energy levels stay at those all day long? A lot of the times they do, but there are days when the left brain takes over and anxiety and stress comes in because you start thinking about all the stuff,
Right.
But what I've learned is that anxiety and creativity cannot live in the same space.
No.
So if I stay creative in my purpose, stay creative in my habits, and work my habits discipline, then my creativity levels jump up.
And you're a different person. It does. And you're a different person, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, those days I get on the treadmill and I watch a teaching, and I've worked my body and I've worked my mind, and I don't do anything crazy. I just walk for 30 minutes on the treadmill. I feel like Superwoman when I get off there. I feel I'm so pumped up mentally and physically that I feel like I can save the world that day. And I get so much inspiration I do a Monday morning email blast to all of my brokers. So much of that inspiration comes. I'll be on the treadmill and I'll be watching something. I grab my phone on the note section and I have a thought and I've got to get it out because I know that's what I'm going to tell them next Monday, or that's, it's so, I 100% agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes. And part of that too is, finding the right habits or finding the right routine. Shauna, do you mind sharing how did you find the routine that you are working with today? Like how did it feel for you when you were doing them?
Well, a lot of it started with reading that Miracle Morning because those were some of the things that he suggested doing. Now, I've done other things. And what I want somebody to hear today, please do not hear what you're hearing us say we do and think you have to copy that, because you don't. If it's not something that resonates with you, you won't stick with it.
Right.
So that Miracle Morning, that kind of helped create those habits. The gratitude practice came because I was trying to retrain my mind away from the negative.
Yes.
So if I practice gratitude and write down 5 things every day I'm grateful for, my mind is shifting more to what I'm grateful for. And I found that throughout my day, when I focused on those things, I found more things to be grateful for, not more negative things.
Yes.
So and because so 2 things. I'm a person of faith, so I read my Bible and pray because I want to strengthen my spiritual relationship. I'm working out every day now because I'm trying to strengthen my physical body, because what I have found is I can't fully live in my purpose and go at the speed I go at all day if physically I'm not in a good place. I can't keep up the momentum. So you just have to find those things. I tried meditating. My mind is all over the place and I can't shut it off. So that wasn't necessarily good for me. So some of it's just been trial and error.
I do
you have
agree.
to find what works for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing with me. I don't write my gratitude. I say 3 things that I'm grateful for the moment I wake up in the morning, and I don't necessarily open the Bible. I listen to the Bible in a Year podcast, and that's the voice in my head the whole entire time while in the shower. So it's like finding the right routine for you. How about in the evening, Shauna? Was there like do you have an evening routine that you do to prepare for the next day?
No, I'm not really. Now, when I was working in town and I was going to a physical building every single day, yes, I had a very strict evening routine because I wanted my mornings to go smoother. So I would get my lunches ready the night before. I would pick my clothes out the night before, just because I knew if I didn't, then in the morning when I'm trying to do my morning routine, I wouldn't have near as much time and I would be running around crazy. Plus now I have my grandbaby every morning and I wanted more quality time with her. So I don't have a really strict evening routine. I try to make that be my family time, even if it's nothing more than we're sitting in the same room together. I might be reading, my husband might be watching TV, but we're together. So I tried my routine there is more trying to focus on my family.
That is definitely an evening routine too. Again, it's finding what's right for you.
That's
my gosh. This episode, this segment just went by so fast.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, partner.
Oh my gosh.
So we talked about habits. We talk about habits and the importance of building a habit and what benefit we can get out of actually doing the things. It's not an easy task, but it's something that is, again, fulfilling. We will need to take another break. When we return, we just talk about habits. When we return, I'm going to do a cliffhanger. I will not share what we're going to talk about on the next episode, but we will be right back. Next segment. We will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Recording stopped.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele with my co-host Ernie DeCumos and our special guest today, Shauna Snyder. Shauna, we just got done over the last segment talking about our habits and how important they are to create good habits in our life. And we talked about morning routines. We talked a little bit about evening routines. But we're going to get into something here that is can be a killer in life. And I'm going to read a quote that you have in your book. I'm not going to tell you what chapter it came out of, but I'm going to tell you where the quote is. All right. And this is it. And I want our audience, our listening audience, to really listen to what I'm going to say here. The tragedy of life is not bound in failure, but complacency. Not in you doing too much, but doing too little. Not in you living above your means, but below your capacity. It's not future, but it is aiming too low. That is like the greatest tragedy. There's a real danger becoming complacent in our lives. That's by Benjamin Mays. Talk to us about complacency, where that plays in our life, and how we can move past it. Because it will kill us. It will really kill us in our life.
Well, for me, complacency came at a time when we were dealing with some trauma, and the complacency came in my marriage. Complacency can sneak into your job. It can sneak into your relationships. It can sneak into so much. And in 2019, I was dealing with some stuff with my family. If you read the book, you'll see I had difficult relationship with my father. My parents had divorced, and I was dealing with having to clean out and sell my parents' home. So the family home I grew up in. And it triggered a lot of emotions. It triggered a lot of stuff being in and out of that house. So I was working all day, dealing with that all night, was all wrapped up in that. And, my marriage has always been good. Chad's very even keeled. And I'm pretty, I've been called dramatic. I've been called emotional. He evens me out. Right. So, he is, we've always been a pretty good yin and yang. We've been married 16 years and we've had our ups and downs, but it was good. We're a blended family. We had issues with that, but other than that, things were good. And I just kind of started taking for granted that he was always going to be here and that I could dump all over him when I was going through things and he should just take it. And I stopped focusing on us. I stopped focusing on our marriage and I started focusing on too many other things. And I was going through a really dark place that year. And I realized that I was dumping it all on him. Well, we also had some stuff going on in our family at that very same time. He didn't have the capacity to take all my stuff. He had his own stuff.
Yeah.
But when we become complacent in a relationship, we take it for granted. We stop working on it. Maybe we stop working on ourselves. Maybe we stop communicating. Those are all things that start to sneak into a complacent relationship. You don't focus on having some one-on-one time, having date nights.
Is it like warning signs?
There are warning signs all over the place, but we don't see them. We don't see them. And that's the place where I got to. Is there were warning signs screaming at me. And I didn't realize it because I was just in the middle of this huge traumatic thing that I was going through with my family. So I had to stop and say, first of all, I had to heal myself over those things, over those traumas. I had to work on healing me. But I also had to start realizing that he's a human being too, who has feelings and emotions and his own stuff. He can't take mine on as well. And we had to get back to a place where we spent more time with each other, started communicating, started choosing our words a little bit more carefully, started plugging into what made us an amazing couple to begin with and why we even got together in the first place, right? So it's so easy in a marriage when life's good or life's bad. It can go either way. I think sometimes when our careers are going amazing and that's where all of our focus is, our home life is starting to take a back seat. But complacency sneaks into our job as well. I could say things like, I'm really good at what I do. I don't have to work to be better. I don't even have to put any effort or thought into it. I just need to show up every day and do it because I know what I'm doing. I don't care what your job is. There's always room to get better. I don't care what the relationship is. There's always room to get better.
Yeah.
But I think too often when we become complacent in those things, it's almost, if we don't wake up in time, we could lose the marriage. We could lose the job. You have to start pouring into those things and not thinking things are good. I don't need to work on it. And I just think that the danger is, what I woke up was like, I could lose this marriage. Maybe I got complacent in my roles. Maybe that played into why I lost those jobs. I'm very careful now with my words to my husband. And I stop myself before I verbally and emotionally throw up all over him. I'm very careful with trying to communicate. I've learned how to communicate in his love language and with his disc profile style, not in mine. I've learned to be so grateful for every second that we wake up together and for this family that we have fought so hard to create and where we are today.
Yeah.
And I also feel that way about my role now in I got a job with Weichert in January of 2024. And I'm always looking for ways to get better. I don't ever want to become complacent in this role. Because when I do, not only am I not growing, I'm not helping anybody else. And that is my purpose, as we talked about in the first segment, was our purpose. But you can lose sight of that if you start to get complacent in any area of your life. So I try to be very, very, again, we're going to use that word discipline again, to be grateful for my job, to be grateful for my marriage, to be grateful for my bonus kids, to be grateful for where I am today, and to not take any of it for granted, and show up the best version of me that I can show up as every single day.
That is so beautiful, Shauna. There is a comparison that you mentioned in your book, and if you could please enlighten us, it's the difference between complacency and overcapacity.
Yeah. Good question.
Overcapacity is we take on too much because we're trying to be perfect or we're trying to be that person to everybody. That's not the same thing. That's absolutely not the same thing. I've been both. I've been complacent and I've been I've been at that point of being overcapacity. That's not even the word. That's not the word. We need to learn the English language here today, don't we? But to me, the perfect storm was when I was at that level of overcapacity and I was becoming complacent. So it became a perfect storm for me. Let me explain why. Because I was complacent in my relationship with my husband. I was completely over capacity in the role I was taking for my parents and what I was trying to fix there. And that became the perfect storm. So in one relationship, I wasn't taking care of it. The other one, I was taking too much.
Yeah. So can overcapacity and complacency what you're saying is they can actually be in the same place, same space together.
Yeah, they were for me. Yeah, they were.
Does it bleed over to other things, Shauna?
Yes. Yes.
If you get complacent, like in your job, can that bleed over to your family? To your
Absolutely, it does.
To your
absolutely. And the overcapacity bleeds over into your relationships. They both do.
How do you get out of that? I mean, how does a person get out of
For me, it was
complacency?
rock bottom. For me, it was hitting rock bottom.
Okay.
So that's why
I don't want to hit rock bottom. I don't
No.
want to hit. So you got to give me something here. How do I get out of it? I'm speaking for the audience, right?
Absolutely. How you get out of it, number one, is don't take any of your relationships or those blessings that you have in life for granted.
Be grateful. Yeah.
So be grateful. See the blessing and the opportunity in it every single day. See the blessing of the people that are placed in your life. See the blessing in the job. And even if your job right now you don't love, maybe it's not your dream job, but how can I get better there to then get better down the road somewhere else where I'm trying to go to? Because I feel like everything is a stepping stone, right? So
Yeah.
you can learn, you can grow where you're planted.
Oh, I love that.
So I think that's being grateful is the biggest thing to help you not become complacent.
Ernie, you have this 1% theory. Tell us a little bit about that. How we can apply that to
I
complacency
have
in
a
our life.
1%.
Yeah, you
I
get
have a
better.
1%. It's
Yeah.
it's getting better 1% every day. And may that be anywhere. Because a lot of times we feel like in order for us to improve or grow in life, it has to be this massive change or
Yeah.
massive improvement. But it's really not. That's basically what
Mm-mm.
you're saying. You're saying, Shauna, that you have to be grateful for one thing every day.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's
right.
the
And,
Right.
and,
And you just got to realize that you can't just keep throwing more and more stuff on.
right.
Right. And I
Right.
think that's how I arrived to the place of complacency. And that's how I became, I reached my max capacity and I was pouring out. You just
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
pouring more and more and more stuff on. So it's
And
just celebrate your small things, celebrate
Yeah.
those small wins every day and those people in your life.
And I love that what Ernie said about the 1% because our mentor John Maxwell says that consistency of those things compound over time. So
Absolutely.
1% can compound over time to 100%, to 150%, but do it in small steps, right? Can't do it all at once. I love that.
Right.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. I do have one last question, Shauna. Your book is titled Finding Joy in the Impossible. You have gone through a lot of things uh with your marriage, with your old marriages, your health, your work even. If there is one person out there who may be going through what you went through or trying to get out of what they're going through right now, what is that one advice where they can start today to find joy in their life?
Well, for me, it started with therapy and counseling.
Mm,
It started with prayer.
mm,
It started with realizing that I have worth.
mm,
It started
Mm.
with realizing that I have purpose.
mm.
And I have to work on this every single day. I wrote this book 5 years ago. My life is far from perfect. But I had somebody ask me recently, what's the one thing you've come so far, but what's the one thing you would tell people in the things you've went through and where you're at? And I said, that's easy for me. I never lose my joy. Do I get sad? Yes, I get sad. Do we have bad things happen? Absolutely, we do. Is life hard? Yeah. Is life a struggle? Yeah. We're human. We're on this earth.
Yeah.
Don't
I
live
love
there.
that.
Don't live there. That's my biggest
that.
piece of advice. Don't stay stuck in that place. Dig deep and find a way to pull yourself out because, yes, bad things happen to us all, but they don't have to define us. They don't have to stop us. They don't have to paralyze us. We can still be better and we can rise above it. And let me, this is one key thing. My mom always said, get better, don't get bitter. I live by that. Every day I live by that.
Yes.
I try every
That's
day,
amazing.
just get better.
Beautiful.
That's awesome. So we are coming to the conclusion of the show, but I'm sure our listeners are wondering, what are you currently working on and how can people connect with you, Shauna?
Well, they can find my book on Amazon. My website is journeyonyourself.com. They can find me all over social media. I'm Shauna Hastings Snyder on social media. they can reach out to me that way. I'm currently working as a regional director for Weichert, traveling around the country, helping the most amazing brokers be better. And that's, I'm living my dream. I'm living my purpose right now. So that's what I'm working on right now, is trying to help other people be great and live every day with joy.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Shauna. Thank you so very much. We have had a kind of a crazy show today, kind of off and off the rails a little bit, but had so much fun about purpose and habits and complacency. So, but guess what? Next week, sneak peek Thursday on the Leader's Edge, Heaven Sunda, an advocate for health equity and marginalized community, joins us to talk about, I love this title, Everything Intersects, Turning Deficits to Assets. Don't want to miss that show. And Shauna, thank you so much for being here today. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much. And just a reminder, you can find The Leader's Edge on Apple Music and Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends, because without you, The Leader's Edge would not be possible. We are grateful to have you here and so excited to connect with you next time. But for now, bye everyone.